After a stretch of silence, the Dodgers bats are suddenly singing in harmony at Chavez Ravine, led by huge nights from Max Muncy and Teoscar Hernández. Plus, did Mookie Betts just snap out of his funk?
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's time for Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Dodger Stadium was witness of an offensive explosion by the boys in blue that included 6 players in the lineup getting multiple hits and the first double-digit run performance for the team in over a month and a half. We're talking about Max Muncy's huge impact if we think Mookie Betts is finally out of his slump, and a massive update regarding Roki Sasaki's potential return this season in today's episode, which is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. He's Travis Rodgers. I'm Harry Ruiz, two guys who talk sports for a living and bleed Dodger blue for life. If you're an early bird listener of our show, you can with Travis on ESPN LA, on the ESPN LA app, and on 710 ESPN LA on your radio from 9 to noon with the Travis and DeMarco show. As for me, I'm the Spanish play-by-play broadcaster for the Las Vegas Raiders and USC football. But it's jumping on the mic every weekday morning and diving deep into what I love most, which is talking Dodger baseball with you. The Dodgers offense is completely different with Max Muncy in the lineup. Double digits for the first time since June 22nd. That was less than 2 weeks before Max Muncy went on the IL for over a month. Travis, the Dodgers lineup, this was a different beast last night. Muncy went 4 for 5 with 2 home runs, 4 runs batted in, and scored 3. This is what we wanted.
Yeah, Harry, this is not a victory lap on my part, but this is exactly what I was hoping would happen with Max Muncy's return to this Dodger lineup, that this is the best possible scenario. I mentioned it yesterday. The everydayers will remember what we talked about it, which is just basically his mere presence in this lineup allows everyone else to just take a deep breath and relax, to take an extra pitch, to get a little bit more comfortable in the line, because you have a real, genuine major league thumper right there in the middle of the order. And when he went down, it wasn't just that he had gone down, it's that he was white hot when he went down. He was kind of, I don't want to say he was carrying the team, because that's always going to be Ohtani and those guys, but he was an incredibly vital component of what they were doing. And he's come back way ahead of schedule, which is great news. But it looks like he's come back and been hot too, that somehow, some way he was able to stay hot while being on the IL, while doing his rehab, because obviously last night was a great night. Like you said, he had 4 hits, he had a couple of home runs, and it just looked like he was completely locked in. But go back to the night before, the last out of the game, he made the final out, but that ball was buttoned up. That ball was absolutely barreled. He just hit it right at Nootbaar to end the game. That he is really locked in. You're starting to see what not only that does for him, but what it does for the guys behind him. Teoscar Hernández, couple of home runs last night, because all of a sudden everybody's concentration goes, I'm talking about the opponent, goes down. All of a sudden you're a little bit rattled. You throw a pitch that maybe not be as sharp, and Teo feasted on that. It was a really good night for not just Muncy and Teo, but for that entire Dodger lineup. Pages had a big night. That these guys that are behind Muncy, all of a sudden, instead of batting 4th or 5th, they're batting 6th or 7th. Everybody gets pushed down a little bit. You get a little bit of better pitches. You get a little bit of better opportunities, and they're taking advantage of it. And Max Muncy's presence changes everything.
Yeah, and it makes me remember all the everydayers know it. Since you joined the show, you brought up your theory when you were talking about if it weren't Shohei, Mookie, Freddie, right, that the Dodgers had an MVP on this team. Max Muncy was your pick for it. And man, his absence over the last month showed it. I think even more than when he was in the lineup, because he's in the lineup and a lot of people don't even notice it. They go with Will Smith, who is a legitimate MVP candidate this year. He's going to get votes for National League MVP. You go for Shohei Ohtani, who's leading the National League with home runs, I think, because it's been a while since he hit his last one. He's got 38. Mookie Betts down here, but a lot of people consider him still one of the best players in baseball. Maybe not this season, but over the last decade. Freddie Freeman, undoubtedly an incredible player. Nobody nobody looks at Max Muncy that way. But you take him out of that lineup, and it seems like you can't connect the top of the lineup and the bottom of the lineup in a correct way for them to keep on moving. You saw Max hit a home run and then Teo follow him up with a home run that way. You saw Max hit his first home run and be like, okay, he energized this team. Where it was like, yes, Freddie Freeman, he got that sac fly. We got a run on the board. It's like, all right, that's better than yesterday, a better start. But then Max hit the home run and everybody was like, the vibes were up. And that kept on going the rest of the night. 2 home runs, 4 hits in this game. Max Muncy, man, the Dodgers definitely missed him. And we were asking ourselves just a couple of weeks ago, which version of Max Muncy are we going to get? Because it wasn't just my pinky hurt injury. No, it was a helmet to the knee that he took on July 2nd it was.
Yeah, you said it. I think it's the perfect way to say it. He connects the top and the bottom of the order. It allows those guys in front to be way better because they're going to be attacked a little bit more frequently from the opposing pitcher because they don't want to pitch to Muncy with guys on base. It allows the guys behind them to hit in spots that are perhaps more well suited to their skill sets where, to ask a guy like Andy Pages to bat 4, 5, 6, he's probably not at that point in his career right now. But having a player that good like Pages bat 7, 8, 9, it changes a whole bunch of things. It connects that that top to the bottom of the order, like you mentioned. And I really think when you put it towards the front of the lineup, if you know that there is no break until you get to that 5th or 6th guy, it means that the Shohei's going to get a little bit better pitches. Mookie's going to get a little bit better pitches. Freddie's going to get a little bit better pitches. And Will Smith obviously didn't play last night, but he's going to get an opportunity to see a few more pitches inside that strike zone because you do not want to pitch to Max Muncy with a bunch of guys on base. And look, he's never going to win an MVP. And when I said that early in the season, it wasn't that I thought he would win it. My point was he's the sort of player that can help other guys win MVPs. If he's back there doing what he's doing, it means Shohei gets more chances. It means Mookie and Freddie get more chances because he's a real legitimate threat. And if they choose to work their way around those guys, Muncy's going to kill you. And he did it last night. He's been doing it for the better part of a couple of months after a terribly slow start. I don't know if it's the glasses. I don't know if it's just the weirdness of baseball that, he's coming back out of that valley. Who cares? He's hitting regardless of why. That like they say in Bull Durham, if you think you're getting hits because of blank, then you are. Well, he's getting hits because of health, because of glasses, because of time, because of all this stuff. And he has really energized this lineup in the 2 games that he's been back, and hopefully he can stay hot for a while.
And look, we can't say that Max Muncy is an unsung hero. If you live outside of LA, if you don't follow the Dodgers,
right,
you might think that he's an unsung hero. For us that follow this team day in, day out, day games, late games, weekdays, weekends, we know the importance that Max Muncy has on this squad, both in the clubhouse as a presence, but then in the lineup defensively. He had an error yesterday, but he also had a great double play with runners in first and second where he grabbed the ball at third, stepped on the base through the first. I think it ended up being a foul ball, but at the same time, it ended up being like, okay, we can see him with his mobility. He's not that effective as we thought he could have been with that knee injury. So we are very happy to have Max Muncy in the lineup right there and on third base.
I think you're right about what you said, that he is not an unsung hero to Dodger fans. He's first of all, he's been here a long time. He has been a part of this team for going on, 10 years now. He is a staple part of what they do. And I don't think he's going to hold it forever, but I do think there's going to be a time where Max Muncy's hit more home runs as an LA Dodger than anyone ever. I think Shohei will go past him before too long because Shohei is Shohei and he's going to be here for a long time. But the Dodgers have had some really good players come through this organization since they came here in the late 1950s, and that Max Muncy is going to have more home runs in a Dodger uniform than anyone else. That is a real accomplishment, and he's closing in on it. He's going to get it, assuming health. And you can't be an unsung hero if you have more home runs than any Dodger player in LA history, and that's where he's headed.
Yeah, considering health and a contract extension.
Yeah,
That one's the big key, the big component to that as well.
sure.
205 home runs for Max Muncy, the latest count in 907 games. I think that they might be missing the 2 home runs from last night, but I'll leave it at that. He already surpassed Matt Kemp this season. Let's keep going up those ranks. Max Muncy, we are so happy to have him back, but he wasn't the lone person that enjoyed a great night
You're
in the
right.
batter's box. Next on Locked On Dodgers, we talk about the big performances from Teoscar, Mookie, Shohei, and company.
Today's episode is brought to you by Game Day Hue, and of course, the Game Day Hue hat that I've got on the golf course all the time. I don't bring it to work. I like to leave it in its little mark at the house, so I'm always ready to go because Game Day Hue makes clean, no logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base, and the colors are spot on. It's not that kind of, no, that is that color blue. We all know what we're talking about. It's about letting your colors speak for you, right? Without the giant logo, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the course. That's where I love to wear mine, or anywhere in between. I am always rocking my you-know-what blue hat out on the golf course. Everybody says, wow, man, that looks perfect. Where'd you get that? And they know which team I'm repping. It happens every time, and it goes great with all my usual golf gear as well. And it's not just hats, right? If you're a golfer, they got their split shade gloves as well, made for the golf course or for the perfect gift for the fan who's got just about everything, but not everything. And right now, you can get 15% off with the code MLB15, that's MLB15, at GameDayHue.com. That's GameDayHue.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals, so you can load up on everything you need. So let your colors talk, because colors speak louder than words. That's GameDayHue.com, code MLB15.
Thanks for making us your first listen wherever you may be tuning in, either on your favorite podcast app or our YouTube channel, which keeps growing every day. Smash that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Full episodes, hot takes, breaking Dodgers news, and the Dodgers postcast show with Pete Fox live after the final out of every game. If it drops, you're on it. That's how you become an everydayer here on Locked On Dodgers. Like Dan, who in yesterday's show pointed out in the comments that in the last 30 games, the Dodgers have the most strikeouts and the fewest number of hits in baseball, plus a losing record. Well, Dan, hopefully that offensive output last night helped the Dodgers jump those rankings, because they had a grand total of 17 hits. And also, it included Mookie Betts getting his first hit in 22 at-bats, a double down the line against Miles Mikolas. And that started a night where he had a 3-hit game for the first time since June 7th, and just the second time in 2025 where he reached base 4 times. That's what we were waiting from Mookie Betts. Now we just got to switch it from just being a one-time occurrence to then having consistency, because we know in baseball you can get a one-night hero that then disappears in the darkness the rest of the way. Mookie Betts, with the type of player he has been during his whole career, Travis, this has to be the start of something good.
I really hope so. I really hope so. And it's certainly possible. You know, that one of the oldest baseball cliches that are out there, and it's a cliche because it happens to be true, is you can never get too high. You can never get too low, because there's always another game coming tomorrow. That on the day you strike out 3 times, who cares? You got another game tomorrow. On the game that you get 3 hits or on base 4 times, who cares? You got another game tomorrow. Well, I'll tell you who cares right now. Mookie Betts cares. The LA Dodgers care. Every Dodger fan cares. The everydayers on Locked On Dodgers care, because Mookie Betts is not just some guy that's on the team. Mookie Betts is just not a guy who's made the All-Star team a few times. Mookie Betts is one of the best players of his generation. Mookie Betts is a deadlock cinch first ballot Hall of Fame player who is still in the meat of the prime of his career. This slump that he's been in basically the entire season is borderline inexplicable. It just doesn't make any sense. And any positives that you can find have to mean something. And last night was a huge positive. Like you mentioned, he not only got 3 hits, he walked 2. And look, that's a big part of Mookie's game. I will never forget when he first came over to the Dodgers, that how infrequently he would swing the bat at balls in the strike zone and miss, right? He just didn't miss. If he swung the bat at a strike, he hit the ball and often hit it hard. So all of a sudden, him not hitting the ball hard, swinging and missing, it just doesn't make a ton of sense. There has to be something going on beyond just a slump. A slump that lasts 4 months is just really hard to wrap your head around. And that's just me talking. I can't imagine what it's like for Mookie. So fast forward to last night. Dude gets on base 4 times. None of those balls were hit particularly hard, Harry, but who cares? He was on base 4 times. If he can walk into the ballpark, they were talking about it on the telecast last night. You could see him in the dugout. When's the last time you saw a smile on Mookie's face? When was the last time you saw his teammates out in the bullpen in left field standing up, clapping for him, ready to go? You could see it in the ballpark. You could see it in the dugout. You could see it on Mookie's face. Finally, I did something to help the team. That has to matter. I'm really excited. I love that they're playing a day game today because he's going to get right back out there. He's going to get another chance to kind of live on those vibes for another day. And hopefully this is the beginning, like you said, of Mookie starting to look like Mookie, because here's the best possible news. A horrible 4 months can be erased with a great 2 months and certainly a great October. Nobody's going to care that he hit 230 for 4 months. If he hits, the way that Mookie Betts can hit in October, if he hits a big home run in a playoff game, if he gets on base 4 times in a playoff game, all that stuff out the window. And last night felt like a real opportunity. Now it's one day. If he goes out there and goes 0 for 5 today, we're going to be right back where we were. But for one day and the positive vibes that come with it, it was massive and huge. And I was thrilled for him.
Yeah, Dave Roberts actually pregame said that his only ask for Mookie is wanting Betts to have as much confidence in himself as Roberts has confidence in Mook, and that it would turn. Well, that was definitely a good first step against the Cards, but we got to keep it rolling with him.
It's funny. I was on YouTube the other day, or yesterday, as a matter of fact, and I saw a clip of David Ortiz. I think it was on the Fox pregame show during the NLDS last year. Remember, Mookie was in a hole at that point. It wasn't doing much offensively, and like Ortiz directly addressed the camera to Mookie, like, "Dude, bro, forget about all the technical stuff. Go out there with your swag. Go out there and be Mookie Betts. Go out there and smile and have fun and just do what you know you can do." And it's great advice. And you got to see it a little bit last night. And hopefully it sticks, because when Mookie's good, the Dodgers are a lethal team with Mookie Betts playing like Mookie Betts. Anybody can lose on any night, but if Mookie's Mookie, they are really hard to beat. And you got to see it last night.
Yeah, and look at the rest of the lineup. Shohei Ohtani, 2 for 4, 3 runs, 1 walk. Freddie Freeman, he went 0 for 3, but as I said during a short in a TikTok video yesterday, I'd rather have Freddie Freeman go 0 for 3 than having the Dodgers have the rest of the lineup go 0 for and Freddie be the only one producing. Yes, he had 2 RBI, but at the end of the day, 0 for 3. Teoscar Hernández, we mentioned him, 3 hits. He had 4 RBIs, 2 home runs, pretty much the same stat line as Max Muncy. Another guy that needed a big night, Teoscar Hernández, because we needed his confidence to go up. And he is the one that brings that positive energy to the clubhouse, to the dugout. And you always see him with the sunflower seeds. He's a guy you want to have at the right pace. And I think he got in the right track yesterday. You had Andy Pages, 2 hits. Alex Freeland, the rookie, he got 2 hits and an RBI. That's the kind of, like, if Mookie's on the right track, the rest of the lineup is going to catch up and feel the same way and get, like you said, better opportunities, better pitches thrown by the hurlers from the other team. This is what you need with the Dodgers.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point, Harry, that you see guys like Freeland and maybe a little bit less in Pages, because Pages has been around a little bit, but it just takes a ton of pressure off of those guys, knowing that the top is doing what the top is supposed to do, knowing that Ohtani's getting on base, knowing that Mookie's getting on base, that Muncy's doing his thing, that Teo's doing his thing. Then it's not like Freeland goes up there saying, "Oh man, no one's hitting. I got to really come in and be the difference here," or Pages or Conforto, any of those guys that bat more towards the back end of the order. It just frees them up, and being relaxed and being free and easy and being confident and knowing that the next guy can do it makes everybody better. And again, not to repeat myself too much, but Muncy is really the guy that has done this. And I think Muncy's return allows Teo to be Teo more. Teo being Teo allows Pages to be Pages. It's just this chain of events that starts to happen. And it starts with, it could really start with Mookie. If Mookie starts to go, then everything changes a great deal. Freddie, I don't worry about at all. Even when he makes outs, they're pretty good at bats. He grinds pitchers down. He got a little bit unlucky on a call last night. They could have probably gone either way. They bet this on that 3-0 pitch, but I really truly never sweat Freddie Freeman. As long as he's relatively healthy and in the batter's box, he's always dangerous.
Going back to Andy Pages, remember it was just over a month ago that we were campaigning hard for him to be an all-star, saying that he was a snub, and then he started a decline where it was like, man, what's going on with Andy Pages? Now he had a big game yesterday. Hopefully he gets in a better spot. And something that you brought up earlier, and we have to mention once again, this offensive output with 17 hits, with 12 runs, with 3 walks, happened on a night where the Dodgers didn't have their best player of the season, Will Smith, who had the night off, and Dalton Rushing, the rookie, was over there in the back, where if it probably wasn't Emmett Sheehan's best game, but that battery, they communicated, and they're 2 very young fellas, and they did a good job. You're not expecting to have a Tyler Glasnow outing from Emmett Sheehan every night. And he had a solid outing for the Dodgers, 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. And then the bullpen came in, and Diaz ended up getting accounted for 3 runs. But overall, I think that over there it was already a blowout. Whatever happened, and the Dodgers ended up with the win, which is always the most important part.
Yeah, I like what you said about Rushing. I think there's a really important part of what's happening here for the Dodgers that I think will bear some fruit later in the season. He's not hitting much, but I don't want to say it's okay, because you want all your offensive players to be dangerous offensive players. But the fact that you can take a rookie and put him out there in a situation where, look, these games are important. They don't have a huge lead in their division, and feel good enough for him to handle your pitching staff, for him to be good enough to shepherd a fellow rookie through a game the way that he did, and not feel like you got to play Will Smith every night because you can't afford to put a relatively inexperienced player out there, is huge. The fresher Will Smith is towards the end of the year, the better the Dodgers are going to be. Now, hopefully Rushing starts to swing the bat like we've seen him swing the bat in the minor leagues. That really hasn't happened yet. But, typically your backup catcher is an older guy that's been around the block a few times, that knows how to handle a pitching staff, especially a player like Sheehan, who might be a little inexperienced in his own right. But that you can put Rushing out there and feel pretty good about it is great news for Will Smith. It's great news for the Dodgers.
Shout out to Austin Barnes, who had that role for a long time. And also, it's hard just not having as many opportunities, playing once every 4 or 5 games compared to being out there every single day. Look at Miguel Rojas. When he was playing almost every day with Max Muncy injured, he started getting hot and he was looking better. Fortunately for the Dodgers, Max Muncy is back. Unfortunately for Rojas, his opportunities are going down. But the more consistency you're able to go out there and perform, the better you're going to get. And Rushing, he'll get used to this role. We'll see for how long. We also got to remember, Freddie Freeman, his contract isn't far away from expiring. Right. Will Smith could end up being the Dodgers' first baseman, and then you could have Rushing cover that spot. But that's a topic for another day. For now, coming up on Locked On Dodgers, we have a massive update regarding injured pitcher Roki Sasaki and a potential return to the mound this season. Have you ever wished managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Gone are the days where I needed multiple apps on my phone for all the different banks I have an account in just to be able to track my spending. Monarch Money takes care of that for me. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Don't forget to follow Locked On Dodgers not only on YouTube, but on X, Instagram, and TikTok as well. You can find Travis on social media at Travis Rodgers. Rodgers just as Dodgers, but replace the D with an R on X and Instagram. Meanwhile, I'm at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, and at Harry Ruiz_ on TikTok. Let us know if you want Roki Sasaki back with the big league club in 2025 or not, because Sasaki threw a bullpen session on Tuesday, which both team officials and the own Japanese hurler ended up encouraged with because they think he's headed in the right direction. He'll be facing hitters for 3 simulated innings on Friday, and a rehab assignment could be coming soon where he would need to build up to 5 or 6 innings. And Sasaki said he's willing to pitch in any role the Dodgers ask him to, because he says he's pain-free and he's down to go either in the bullpen or as part of the rotation. That's something big, Travis, because we know Dustin May, he wanted to be a starter. There wasn't a spot for him in the rotation. The Dodgers shipped him off to the Red Sox. Sasaki, he's down to whatever the Dodgers need him to do.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's willing to do it, but I'll be honest, Harry. No. He walks too many people. You can't pitch out of the bullpen and walk people. You you really can't do it in the playoffs. So if he gets an opportunity to come back into the major leagues and can demonstrate that he has command and demonstrate that he has control, then we can address it. We can figure it out from here. I want to kind of rewind the clock a little bit. That Dodger fans that might not know my takes on Roki Sasaki, I haven't got a chance to talk about him too much here because he was on the IL by the time that you and I started doing Locked On Dodgers. This is a very green guy. This is not Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who came over here with tons of experience in professional baseball, who had won multiple Sawamura Awards in Japan, who was basically a finished product by the time he got here. He came over here ready to pitch against anybody in the world. He's one of the best pitchers in the world. Roki Sasaki is a great talent. He is not experienced. He is very green. He needs to learn how to pitch professionally, not just in the big leagues, but just generally speaking. He is still learning his craft at a level. The Dodgers don't have a ton of room for development now. During the regular season, sure, you can do it. But Roki Sasaki was an addition for 2026 and beyond that I never expected him to contribute to this team in a meaningful. If he does, great. It's found money. I'm not saying that it's not possible. You can't walk people. You just can't do it. And he walks a lot of guys. And, maybe he gets it straightened out. Maybe he can come in here and really take a leap forward. But I would be disingenuous if I changed just because he's a name we know and everybody's excited to get him. He walks a lot of people, and you can't walk people in September, and you really can't walk people in October. And until he gets that under control, I think he is an option that they will be very reluctant to use.
Just to support what you said about Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Roki Sasaki, the difference is Yoshi played 8 years professionally before coming to Major League Baseball and getting, what was it, a $325 million contract that he ended up getting, the highest contract or the most money that a pitcher has ever gotten in a single contract. Mm-hmm. And in his case, Roki Sasaki, he came to the Dodgers with 4 years of experience in professional baseball. That's half of it. You already mentioned the big awards. He won the equivalent of the Cy Young out there in Japan. Roki didn't, but he has a lot of hype. Yeah, exactly. And Roki, he has all the hype because he's young, and he's so young and so inexperienced compared to Yoshi when he signed his contract that he signed a minor league deal with the Dodgers. That's how he's with the Boys in Blue, the same minor league deal he would have signed with any other organization. And fortunately for him, the Dodgers don't need him.
Not right now.
Here, right now. And I'm knocking on wood, if there's an injury in the rotation, there might be a spot for him. Or I think it would be a better option, go Kasparius, go Wroblewski. But Sasaki, for now, the speed, it's been a big topic of conversation because he came to America and he was topping over 100 miles per hour. Yep. And then when he was actually in the rotation, it wasn't getting over 98 miles per hour. And there's a big difference between 98 and 102. That 98, if that's your weapon, It's going to be predictable, and major league batters, they're going to get to it. They're in a better space than the Japanese ones, and they're used to those pitches. And look at yesterday. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., he took Mason Miller deep on a 104 mile per hour fastball in Arizona. So that shows you major league hitters, they're a different monster. And I'm on the same page as you, Travis. If it weren't for the situation the Dodgers were earlier in the season, playing in Japan, having a spot for him in the rotation, they probably would have had him in minor league to start the season, and that would have been his growth to start the year.
There's no question. Had they not opened in Japan, had it not been a situation where they wanted to showcase their Japanese players in their home country, I think you're right. I think he probably starts the season in the minor leagues. Maybe he shows up in the big leagues at some point, but this is a play for the future and not necessarily for the present. Here's what I will say about Sasaki that just to leave on a high note. If he comes back and pitches in the big leagues this season, and there's enough time to see what it looks like, and he comes back, whether it's in August or September, if the Dodgers have enough lead to kind of experiment a little bit, and he is throwing strikes, there might be a role for him out of the bullpen. Because like you said, 100+ his stuff is unreal. His stuff is as good as you're going to find. The difference is if, and you said it well, if I'm a major league hitter, I don't care how hard you throw if that's all I have to worry about. The problem is if you throw 100 and you can also land your splitter or you can land your changeup, now I can't. I'm dead meat. I'm lost in the woods. But you can throw 150. If that's the only pitch I know that might come over the plate, it's the only thing I have to look for. These guys are going to hit it, and I think that's where he is. But if he can land secondary pitches, if he can get ahead in the strike zone, his stuff is good enough, because what you need in the postseason is swing and miss stuff, right? You need guys that can come in and just blow guys away. This is why Kopech was valuable. This is why Trinan is so valuable. It's just, you can't hit them if they're throwing their best pitches. Sasaki is one of those guys. The problem is if he's walked a couple of guys in the inning, now all of a sudden you're in trouble. But if he can find command, his stuff will certainly play.
And also the confidence factor is huge, because in Japan, he was one of the best. And then he comes to America and it's not playing the same way. No. That's something that we definitely have to touch up on. And a rehab assignment means he gets to go to AAA, means that he gets to try his stuff on other batters that aren't at the same level as major leaguers. And hopefully that confidence level comes up. It's good that he's recovering. For sure. I just don't feel it's the right moment to think about he's coming back this season to the big league club. Go to OKC, have him hopefully play for the PCL championship and be in a big moment right there. But for now, the big league club, I think they're in a good spot. Well, that'll do it for today's episode of Locked On Dodgers from Travis, Rodgers, and I. Thank you for making this show your first listen. If you're craving more and more baseball talk, have the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night be your second listen. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find it on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And also catch Pete Fox after every Dodgers game on our YouTube channel with his live postcast. We'll be back on Thursday to talk about the Dodgers trying to take the series against the Cardinals with Shohei Ohtani back on the bump after his roughest outing of the year last week in Cincinnati. It'll be interesting to see Show pitching again, Travis, because the last time we saw him doing so, he left the game cramping.
Yeah, I think he'll be all right. Hopefully it was a weather thing, and he's back looking like Shohei again, because if he's good, that's a wrap. They're going to win.
And then hopefully that means next week we get Dodgers, Padres with Shohei Ohtani back on the bump like he did for the first time this season. We appreciate you riding with us. Until next time, keep it real, keep it Dodger Blue.